Hi, welcome back to In the Chair with Imogene Nix, and you know me. You can see the wonderful Keri, the gorgeous Sassie Lewis, and the indomitable Suzi Love. Today we've got a bit of a different way of doing things. We received a list of questions from some aspiring authors, so we're going to do a very quick Q&A going around our circle. The very first question, Sassie, plotting versus pantsing, what's the difference?
Plotting versus pantsing, very easy. They're in the words. Pantsing is I will write by the seat of my pants. I will just spill out the words as they come. I have no outline. I might have some basics, ideas running around in my head, but I literally just sit there and type away, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. Plotting is basically you've sat there, you've made your outline, you've done your draft, you know which scenes are going to come where, how this story is going to evolve, what parts need to happen for all this to become one cohesive unit. I'm a pantser. I do a little bit of plotting, but for the majority of it, I am a fly by the seat of my pants type of girl. If the words aren't flowing, the story's not happening.
Okay, quickly, is there a right, wrong, or indifferent?
Indifferent. There is no, it's whatever suits you, and if you don't be true to yourself as a writer, your writing's going to be shit. I can only write sequentially, so I can have a scene playing through my head, but I can't physically write that scene until the book has reached the point where that scene's going to happen. If I do, that scene is never going to happen in the book, and if the book progress and that scene's still playing through my head, at least 80% of the time that scene that's been playing through my head will end up in the book because it's just how the progression of the book comes. I can't even miss a line. The most I can do is write something in capital letters saying that someone or somewhere or something happened, because I just at that particular time can't think of the tiny little detail of what it's going to be. But apart from that, I am literally a sentence writer. For me, it works out really good because it means that my first draft is the equivalent to most people's thirds. Mind you, I'm an editor too, so I already know grammatically right to thing. But yeah, it just means that my writing's neater because I'm always on that whole pathway of this is how I need to write and this is what needs to happen.
Okay, question two. We were asked about sex scenes and writing them, so I love writing sex scenes because they're so much fun. But there's a couple of key things you need to know. While slot A goes in slot B and D, C, and E may happen, yeah, you knew you were going to do that. You need to think about it because a sex scene, yes, thank you, Sassie. A sex scene doesn't need to be just this action, this action, this action. It needs energy and it needs intimacy, and that kind of intimacy you're going to find by talking about how the individual people are feeling, what they're smelling, what they're hearing, how they're feeling. You want to build that emotional attachment between your main characters, male, female, male, male, female, female, male, female, female, male, whatever your thing whatever your thing is, just you know, when you read it, if you're not emotionally moved by that, it's probably missing something. The best piece of advice, go sit and read as many sex scenes as you can and just try and break down what you've read, what it is about those scenes that pull at you and make you go, "Ooh, yeah, that was pretty hot." So writing sex scenes, and they don't have to be long. They can be quick. They can be closed door. There is no right, wrong, or indifferent on them.
Suzi, add to that real quick. Sorry, I was just going to say it real quick. Another research way, and don't be ashamed of it, porn will help you write sex scenes because it will give you alternate positions that is more than you maybe know in your own bedroom. So
it will. But the other thing too, though, is to remember that porn is not necessarily about the emotional attachment. So yes,
you can get female-directed porn these days, and that is much better than the male-directed porn.
But I have never watched it.
There you go. You're missing.
You're missing out, darling.
Yep.
I watch more porn than a teenage boy.
Okay, I'm going to move right along because we're on a very short time frame today. Suzi, dear, finding the balance of time between writing and doing your social media. Key.
There is, as everyone has said with the other things, there's no set right or wrong. You've got to find your balance yourself. Now, some people like to be on it all day, but as far as I can see, the people who are on social media all day long are the ones that are saying, I don't get enough time to write. So you have to make your decision. And we all know as an author that if we want people to know about our book, if we don't want it to hide forever, we've got to let people know somehow. And social media is the easiest way, obviously. So, yes, go into social media. Use it however you can. Share some of yourself. Share something about your books. Share your friends' books. Share something about, what's happening. But if you spend all day on there, all I can say is you're not going to get your writing done. You have to cut it off somewhere. That's it.
But you also have to keep it real, right? I mean, it's not just buy my book, buy my book, buy my book.
No, that's what I said. And the best thing to do is share your other friends' work. I love doing that. Did you know that Imogene's writing a historical? Did you know that, share some other things? And I'm a great believer in karma. What goes around comes around.
Sorry, Suze. Don't just believe your readers only read one damn genre. I read everything from horror to, well, I don't normally, but I am reading historical now because I'm editing one. And I've enjoyed the book, so I might pick up some other historical books. So, yeah, share a wide range of books. Don't just share what you write.
No, that's right. And the more you share of everything on social media, really, the nicer person you are, and the more inclined you are to get followers who are nice, who aren't into bullying and things. And it makes for a nicer world as far as I'm concerned. But then at some stage you have to say, okay, bye everyone, I'm off to write now, and shut it all down.
Okay, Keri, high concept elevator pitches and synopses.
And I'm not sure why I got these because I suck at all three. Okay, the elevator pitch is basically a 25-word, roughly, pitch of your novel. So the elevator pitch for my Lizzie Grace series is 2 witches in a werewolf reservation solving supernatural crimes. So it basically encapsulates in a brief sentence what the story is. A synopsis, I've always done them as outlines because, as I said, I suck at them. So I generally just outline what's happening in each chapter and then cut it down and condense it. So it's just the important parts. It's basically like an elongated back cover copy for me. High concept, it's for me, it's probably not right, but it's the overarching theme of your novel. So Sassie's the editor. She could probably say more about that.
Well, Keri, you're pretty much right. The difference is that a lot of these, your publisher is the only one that's going to see it.
Yeah.
So especially for like a synopsis, it's your pitch to a publishing house that this is my book and I want you to read my book. So rather than saying I submit my first 3 chapters and that's how you hook, you'll often write a synopsis to send to the publishing house and they will read it. So it's the overall arc of the story and they don't want to be left in suspense. They want to know what happens in each chapter and with these characters to go, overall, the overall story arc of this book is on point. We want to pick up this book. So that's what it is. Yeah, I can't really add to what Keri said. It takes practice. Think of your high school days. Your high school book reporting days are going to help you here. And it is something you only really need to know how to do if you're going to submit to a publisher. So.
Okay, the next question. See, we're being very quick today. The next question was about newsletters. So I actually really like writing newsletters. Who here writes a newsletter regularly?
Semi-regularly, and I hate it.
I like it. 2 out of me. Yeah.
I like writing newsletters. Last year I was doing them every 2 weeks. This year I'm only doing them once a month. I've got a huge amount of commitments coming up over the next couple of months, and so for my own sanity, I've decided to go this way. Now, your newsletter doesn't, again, just have to be the, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. I tend to have a bit about, what I've done during the month. I'll throw up some personal photos. We bought a caravan. Oh, look, gee, isn't this lovely? Or we went here, or we did that, or, one of my daughters did something, so that people can connect to me as a person and not just as, the person that created a book. I like to generally have a couple of links to people's books. I prefer to have my friends' books on there, or books that I've read, as recommendations to my readers. Sometimes I'll throw a competition in there. I'll talk about things like where my next signing opportunity is. I might throw in a sneak peek of a piece that I'm writing. Quite often I'll talk about what's new on my website, or, In the Chair has started up again, and you can find all these things. At the end of the day, you don't have to have a newsletter. You're not going to live or die by the newsletter, and there is a fair degree of talk around at the moment that says newsletters are dying because everybody's sick of them, and I think to some degree they possibly are. But part of the thing that you need to do to make your newsletter stand out is don't bombard your readers. Have something snappy about it. Like I've taken lately to using 2 or 3 lines from a song as my my subject line. Something to get people, invested. So it might be Jeremiah was a bullfrog, who was a good friend of mine. Because people see that and they start to laugh. So already I'm engaging them.
And they're songs stuck in your head now.
Sorry?
Songs stuck in your head now.
Yeah. But it does. It just grabs you because you go, I know that song, and so people will open your newsletter. Now, one of the good things that you can do with your newsletter is you can have the links to your Facebook and your Instagram and your Twitter, and where to find your books on Amazon, or author alerts, so that people know when you've got a new book out, they can sign up. Make it easy for people to go and buy your book and to follow you and to engage and to continue to participate in the activities that you do. That's what your newsletter is all about. There are 1,000,001 platforms. I personally use the one that's tied to my website because it's cheaper and it's easy for me. But go and have a look. You've got MailChimp, you've got MailerLite, you've got a whole range of them. Have a look, see what works best for you, trial it, send it to some friends before you go getting subscribers, so that you can make sure it works and see what it looks like. This is a huge topic, and we can probably do another proper in-depth on it at some point in the future. I'm going to move right along. Suzi, handling rejections.
Now, there's something that we should all learn to do at the beginning of our writing career, because at some stage you're going to be rejected. You're going to be rejected by an editor or an agent or a reader. Your books are going to have a I threw it at the wall review, and you've got to learn to have a thick skin. In fact, the best one I ever heard about rejection letters was, now I've forgotten her name, Janet Ivanovic. And she was saying at one of her talks that she had so many rejection letters, she'd actually got a drum and built a bonfire in her front garden and was burning the whole bin of rejection letters. And that very day, the postman brought her a letter saying someone had accepted her submission. And she just burnt a whole bin full of rejection letters. Wow. So you've got to kind of just, take it as it comes. And say, okay, I'm going to be rejected. I'll take what I can from the letter. If it says you need to work on your characters, or, your grammar needs fixing or something, well, you take that away and you work on it. And you learn to let the rest go. Don't take it personally. It's a learning curve.
And if somebody rejects your work on Amazon?
Yeah, well, in that case, you definitely let it go. Because there's never any pleasing anyone. I did actually look one day at reviews that were put there, and I was pointed there by someone else, because I don't often even look at mine, because I just find it, I mean, you can get yourself very upset for no reason. but I did actually look one day and someone said that this reviewer was writing terrible reviews about everyone's book. So I went and had a look, and she was classed as a, so many up the ladder on Amazon reviewer. And then when I looked, she actually reviewed a shower curtain and a set of kitchen utensils and a couple of other things, and then these few books. And I thought, really? I'm not going to get upset about that. Leave her to her shower curtains. I don't care about my book. Just let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Absolutely.
Suzi, I had one of my reviewers say that my alpha male was, wait for it, too alpha. No, that's it. I'm thinking, okay, you've given me a 2-star review because my alpha male is too alpha. Yay for me! At least my alpha male is my alpha. Take it as constructive criticism, people.
And realistically, we're all going to get 1- and 2-star reviews. I think we've all got them here. Yes?
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes it doesn't matter how good your writing is or how much work you've put into it. Sometimes your work just doesn't meet with other people's view of the world or what they want to read. And there is...
Or you hit a hot button of theirs.
Or what they think they're reading. I had the funniest one about my book called The Viscount's Pleasure House. And the whole review was a line that said, I had no idea this was going to be an erotic book. And I thought, really? They didn't in the title when you bought it. And so you've just got to laugh and go, oh, well, move on.
Keri,
Go!
Again, deep point of view, please.
Deep point of view is basically where you're filtering everything through the character's heads. So it's all actions, sights, sounds, plus all their emotions, what they're feeling, their thoughts. So you're going really deep into that character. And everything is seen and heard and viewed through their viewpoint. Basically, the author is non-existent. The author, if it's done right, the author's voice shouldn't be visible. It's all through the characters' minds and thoughts and actions. Yeah.
That was my dog. He's sneezing.
Mine's snoring behind me.
Now, the very last one, and we're going to be quick. This one is first person versus third person when it comes to what works best in the story.
Who's that for?
You.
Oh, you didn't say me! You just said this becomes last. I kind of figured that was kind of my turn. But anyways, what was the question again?
First versus third person in the story and what works best.
And I think you need to be quick because we're running out of time.
Okay, yes. Yeah, both work. What is the difference is how you as an author can write it. I often find some authors that write third person tend to head towards narrative, so they keep adding their author in there and too many characters, and it's like, no, you're still third person, you are still in one character's head at one time. Each scene should be allocated to that particular character. For me, when I'm writing, first versus third is that if I'm listening to my characters tell me the story, it's third person. I will automatically write it in third person. If I'm watching my character and I'm visualizing what my characters do, I've automatically stepped into first person because I've become that character. Throttle, my first book, is totally first person male point of view. And when I was writing that book, it was I could see everything that was happening. So it was like I just stepped into his body and I wrote it. You can't go wrong unless you're not true to yourself. So if you're writing and you're trying to force first person because that's what's popular at the moment, it's going to be shit. Write third person if that's what comes naturally to you. And work on it. Work at writing first and third and what works for you, and just be true to the character and true to yourself. There's no wrong or right there unless you're forcing it. And listen to your editor, because your editor will turn around and tell you, no, you need to change this to third person, or I think this could go into first and it'll read better.
Okay. That's our 8 questions in record time for us.
We have a tendency to get off topic, but hey.
Well, we're just good at it. All right, so I'm going to say thank you to these wondrous ladies. We will see you next time within the chair. As always, please ring our bell, subscribe to our channel, share the information about us, because that's how you're going to get more of these episodes. And
Because we know our shit, people.
yeah, like she said. So we'll say goodbye. So goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye for me.